Last Tuesday, my life turned upside down because of a ridiculous post my girlfriend, Jenna, shared online. I was on my lunch break, scrolling through my phone, when I stumbled across her post, a cheesy inspirational quote overlaid on a sunset image. The text read, "Don't let your boyfriend hold you back from finding your true husband." I froze, staring at the screen. After 4 years together, sharing an apartment I'd had before she even arrived in this city, this was her public declaration. Without thinking, I commented, "Best of luck finding him." Then I updated my relationship status to single on my profile, making sure to tag her mom, her dad, and her sister in the post. Within minutes, her post vanished. My phone, however, erupted with notifications. Jenna sent a flurry of texts, first a string of question marks, then, "What did you do?" followed by "Delete that now." I ignored them. Then her sister, KH Low, messaged me. "Mark, what's happening? Jenna's a wreck." I sent KH Low a screenshot of Jenna's post. Her response was a simple, "Oh, wow." Her mom called twice, but I let it go to voicemail. I wasn't in the mood for hysterics. I silenced my phone and tried to focus on work, but a cold, heavy anger settled in my gut. I knew things would be messy when I got home. I wasn't wrong. The moment I stepped into my apartment, Jenna stood in the living room, arms folded, her face swollen and red from crying but now twisted with rage. "You embarrassed me," she spat. "You embarrassed yourself," I shot back, tossing my keys into the dish by the door. I brushed past her to the kitchen to grab a water bottle. I wasn't having this fight parched. "It was just a quote. It meant nothing," she shouted, trailing me. "Everyone shares stuff like that." "No, Jenna, they don't, not when they're in a committed relationship," I said, unscrewing the cap. "What was I supposed to think? That you're out there browsing for my replacement while I cover our rent?" "That's so unfair. You know I'm not like that." I let out a bitter chuckle. "Your post suggested otherwise. You announced to the world I'm just a stepping stone. So consider the stone gone. You're welcome." She started crying again, but it was the furious, exasperated kind. "So that's it. 4 years and you ended over one dumb post, and you had to drag my family into it. My mom's losing it." "Good," I said, heading to the living room and sinking onto the couch. "Maybe she can help you pack. I want you out by the end of the month." Her tears stopped abruptly, replaced by a smug smirk. "No," she said coolly. I glanced up from the TV guide. "What do you mean no?" "I mean no, I'm not leaving. I live here. My mail comes here. My name's on the lease. You can't just toss me out, Mark. That's not how it works. I have rights as a tenant." She stood there, so pleased with her little legal knowledge, thinking she'd outsmarted me. She probably imagined she could stay here rent-free, plotting her next move while maybe even scouting for her husband. The idea of her bringing another guy into my apartment, sleeping in the bed I paid for, made something in me snap. "We'll see about that," I said, my voice low and calm. She shrugged, spun around, and stormed into the bedroom, slamming the door. I sat on the couch for hours, the TV droning, and started forming a plan. This wasn't just a breakup anymore, it was a battle. The next few days were pure chaos. Jenna flipped between being overly sweet, asking what I wanted for dinner, and being unbearable, blasting music until 2 a.m. on a weeknight. She started inviting friends over constantly, loud, messy people who left dishes and trash for me to clean up. One evening, I came home to find one of her friends, a guy named Todd with an infuriatingly smug face, lounging on my couch, drinking my beer with his feet propped on my coffee table. I looked at him, then at Jenna, and said, "Get him out." Jenna rolled her eyes. "Mark, don't be rude. This is Todd. We're just chilling." "I don't care who he is. Get him out of my apartment now." The fight that followed was explosive. It ended with her screaming that she could have anyone she wanted over because it was her place too. That was her mistake. The next morning, I emailed my landlord, Mr. Henderson, a gruff older man who's owned the building for decades and despises drama. I wrote, subject, lease inquiry, apt 4B. Hi, Mr. Henderson, I hope you're doing well. I have a question about our lease. My co-tenant, Jenna, and I have recently ended our relationship. She's been having guests over at all hours, causing significant noise, and I believe violating the quiet enjoyment clause for me and possibly other tenants. Could you clarify the lease terms regarding overnight guests and excessive noise? I've attached a copy of the lease for reference. I attached the lease PDF, which I'd already reviewed multiple times. An hour later, Mr. Henderson replied with his usual bluntness. "Mark, see Section 7, Clause C of your lease. Guests cannot stay more than 3 consecutive nights in any 30-day period without my written approval. Tenants are responsible for their guests' behavior. Any activity disrupting the peace and quiet enjoyment of other tenants, as determined by me, violates the lease." This is your only warning. Further complaints from you or others about noise or unauthorized guests will result in a formal notice to cure or quit issued to both leaseholders. This gives you 3 days to resolve the issue, i.e., the guest leaves permanently or vacate. Regards, D. Henderson, Building Management. I saved that email as a PDF. That night, Jenna brought Todd over again. They were being obnoxiously loud in the living room, cackling at some awful reality show. I stepped out of my room, phone in hand. Jenna, he needs to leave, I said evenly. We've been through this, I'm not doing it, she snapped. I cut her off. He leaves now or we both face eviction. I showed her the landlord's email. Her face paled as she read it, her smugness fading into panic. You went to the landlord? She whispered, horrified. You said it's your apartment too, I replied, mimicking her tone from before. That means you're responsible for the rules too. He's got 5 minutes to leave or I'm calling Mr. Henderson to report a lease violation. Your call. Todd, who'd been watching the exchange like a spectator at a match, suddenly looked uneasy. He grabbed his jacket. Hey man, it's cool, I'm out. He practically bolted. Jenna stared at me, speechless, her mouth opening and closing. She'd lost her new weapon. She retreated to the bedroom, and I had my first quiet night in days. It was a small win, but it felt good. The eviction threat LO Japanese letter, Japanese letter, Japanese letter, Japanese letter, Japanese letter, and she knew I wasn't bluffing. She had a deadline, whether she liked it or not. With the apartment no longer a weapon, Jenna switched tactics to our belongings. The following Saturday, while I was out buying groceries, she sent me a lengthy text listing everything she claimed was hers. The 65-inch OLED TV, my custom-built gaming PC, the surround sound system, and even the pricey espresso machine. She ended with, "These were gifts or things we bought together, so I'll take them when I move out. Let's be mature and divide things fairly." I nearly laughed in the cereal aisle. Fair? She hadn't paid a cent for any of it. The TV was from a work bonus 2 years ago. I built the PC myself over months. The espresso machine was my birthday gift to myself. This wasn't about fairness, it was about hitting me where it hurt. I didn't respond. I finished shopping, went home, and put everything away while she ignored me from the bedroom. Then I dug through my digital files. It took an hour, but I found the receipts. The Best Buy receipt for the TV with my name and card number, dated October 17, 2023. Invoices from Newegg and Amazon for every PC component. The Williams-Sonoma receipt for the espresso machine. I saved them in a folder labeled Proof. Then I scrolled through old texts with Jenna and found a message from the day after I mounted the TV with a photo of her smiling on the couch, the TV in the background. Her text sent at 8:14 p.m. on October 18, 2023, read, "Movie nights are so much better on your crazy new TV. Thanks for letting me use it." I screenshotted it. It felt like gathering ammo. My friend Dave called while I was organizing the files. "How's the battlefield?" he asked. "About to get strategic," I said, explaining her latest move. "No way," he said. "She's trying to take your PC. Does she even know how to power it on?" "Doesn't matter, it's about hurting me," I replied. "But I've got a plan, you free tonight, got some garage space." An hour later, Dave arrived with his truck. Jenna was out, as I knew from her incessant Instagram stories. We worked fast, unmounting the TV, wrapping it in blankets, disconnecting my PC setup, tower, monitors, keyboard, everything, and loading it into his truck along with the speakers, subwoofer, and espresso machine. In 30 minutes, every valuable item on her list was gone. The living room looked empty, the wall bare. I went to my office, opened the Proof folder, and drafted an email to Jenna. Subject, Ray, your list. I attached every receipt and the screenshot. The email read, "Jenna, I got your text. You seem mistaken about who owns the items you listed. As the attached documents show, I purchased them all myself. They weren't gifts or joint purchases. To avoid any confusion during your move out, I've moved these items to a secure off-site location. They'll return to the apartment after you've vacated and returned your key. Mark," I hit send, then texted her, "check your email." Her response was immediate, a call I let go to voicemail, then another I declined. A flood of frantic, typo-filled texts followed. "Where's my TV? You can't do this." "I'm calling the police," I replied once. "They're not yours, Jenna. The police will be interested in the receipts I sent you." The text stopped. The phone went quiet. She had no moves left. I'd secured the proof and the items. She couldn't hold them hostage. Sitting in my now empty living room, I felt like I could finally breathe. The silence was glorious. Losing the apartment and possessions, battles pushed Jenna to her last resort. Words. She couldn't take my stuff, so she tried to ruin my reputation. It started subtly. Mutual friends grew distant. Texts went unanswered. I was uninvited from a weekly game night with a vague message from the host. "Hey man, better if you skip this for now, things are too weird." I knew it was her. Dave confirmed it, calling me one afternoon, his voice tight with anger. "You need to see this," he said, adding me to a private chat and forwarding screenshots. My stomach churned as I read them. Jenna had started a group chat with 10 of our friends, plus her sister and a cousin, sharing carefully edited snippets of our old text arguments. Only my replies, stripped of context. A message where I said, "I'm done talking tonight," was framed as me being emotionally abusive. Another, "You can't spend that much without asking me," about an extravagant vacation she tried to book on our shared card, was spun as financial control. Her accompanying paragraph was a masterclass in manipulation. "I know you all care about Mark, but you don't know what he was like privately. This is just a glimpse of how he controlled everything and broke me down. I'm lucky I escaped when I did. I hate sharing this, but you deserve to know who he really is." Some friends bought it, sending her sympathetic messages like, "I'm so sorry, Jenna," and we had no clue. It made me sick. These were people I'd known for years, now turning on me over her lies. The old me would have been crushed, but the new me just got ice cold. I didn't engage in the group chat. That's what she wanted, a public fight where I'd look guilty. Instead, I turned to her dad, Alan, the one family member with a level head. We weren't close, but he was honest and drama-averse, unlike her enabling mother. I spent the afternoon gathering evidence. Full, unedited text conversations for every cropped screenshot she'd shared, highlighting her omissions. For the financial control text, the full thread showed her apologizing. "You're right, I should have asked. My bad." For the silent treatment, the prior messages showed her berating me for hours because I worked late and missed her friend's dinner. My reply came at 1 a.m. exhausted. I also had a trump card. A voice recording from a recent fight, captured on my phone left on the kitchen counter. One-party consent is legal here, and I'd sensed it might be useful. In it, she wasn't a victim. She was screaming, insulting me, and threatening to ruin me. The contrast with her group chat persona was stark. I compiled everything into an email to Alan titled "A Tough Situation Regarding Jenna." It read, "Dear Alan, I'm sorry to involve you in this difficult matter. I've always respected you. Jenna has created a group chat with our friends, sharing manipulated texts to portray me as controlling and abusive. These false claims could harm my reputation. I wouldn't reach out if this were just breakup drama, but her actions are defamatory." Attached are her edited screenshots next to the full conversations, showing her distortions. I've also included an audio file of a recent conversation in our apartment. It's unpleasant, but shows her true behavior, not that of a victim. I'm not asking you to pick sides, just to see the truth and urge her to stop this harmful campaign before it causes lasting damage. Sincerely, Mark. I reviewed it, ensuring it was respectful but devastating, and sent it at 6:05 p.m. 2 hours later. Alan texted from an unfamiliar number. "This is Alan. I've reviewed everything. I'm handling it. I'm very sorry, Mark." 20 minutes later, the group chat blew up. Jenna posted, "My dad's calling me. What did you do, you freak?" Then deleted it. A friend who'd supported me texted privately, "Jenna just left the chat." Her sister Chloe posted, "Everyone, please drop this. It's done." I never learned what Alan said to her, but the smear campaign stopped cold. The next day, 2 friends who'd shunned me sent awkward apologies. I accepted, but our friendships were forever changed. Jenna was out of my social circle for good. 3 days later, I came home to find her stuff gone, a key on the counter with a note. "I hate you." It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever read. Life settled into a new normal. I retrieved my TV and PC from Dave's, arranged my living room how I wanted, and savored the quiet. I dated casually, focused on work, and rebuilt ties with loyal friends. Jenna rarely crossed my mind, except as a fleeting disgust at her behavior. Then 6 months later, drama resurfaced. Dave sent me an Instagram screenshot, Jenna flaunting a gaudy engagement ring posed with Todd, the guy I'd kicked out of my apartment. Her caption was pure Jenna. I said yes. "Sometimes you leave the boy to find your dream husband. Can't wait to start forever with my king." I rolled my eyes so hard it hurt. It was pathetic but relieving. She was someone else's problem now. Her stories gushed about their wedding plans. A lavish engagement party at the Grove, a high-end downtown venue with tagged posts showing menus, flowers, and cocktails. It was a social media spectacle to prove she'd won the breakup. But something felt off, desperate, rushed. I knew Todd had a low-paying sales job and roommates. He couldn't afford that ring or the Grove. Jenna's finances were a mess with credit card debt piling up. Who was funding this? Curious, I dug deeper. I'd worked with Maria, the Grove's event manager, for a corporate party years ago and had her email. I also found the Grove's event policy PDF online. One section stood out. Section 4. Payment schedule. A non-refundable 50% deposit is required to book a date. The remaining 50% is due 14 business days before the event. Any outstanding balance for additional services must be paid before the event ends. The Grove may cancel events if final payment isn't received by the deadline. I recalled Maria's strictness about payment for our work event. Jenna's party was 3 weeks away. I wondered if she'd read the terms. A week before the party, a petty but brilliant idea formed. It was a long shot, but too tempting to ignore. I created an anonymous email account in minutes. On the night of the party, social media posts from mutual acquaintances showed Jenna in a white dress, Todd in a poorly fitted suit, both smiling stiffly. Guests were arriving, everything seemed on track. At 7:30 p.m., 30 minutes into the party, I sent Mario an email from the anonymous account. Subject: Friendly warning, Ray, Saturday night event, Jenna and Todd. It read, Miss Garcia, as a former client, I'm sharing information about tonight's event. The bride-to-be, Jenna, has a history of financial instability and expecting partners to cover costs. I want to ensure you've secured final payment. She talks big but doesn't always deliver. For context, I've attached a screenshot of a public post she made during a prior relationship, just before leaving that partner. Wishing you a smooth evening. I attached the original screenshot, the sunset quote, Don't let your boyfriend hold you back from finding your true husband. I sent it, closed my laptop, and started a movie. The seed was planted. Now I'd wait. I didn't wait long. An hour and a half later, Dave called, laughing hysterically. You won't believe this, he said. A coworker at the party as a +1 had been updating him. Maria, alarmed by my email, pulled Todd aside to confirm payment. Confused, Todd said he thought Jenna's dad, Alan, was covering it as a gift. Maria then confronted Jenna mid-party, demanding the $5,000 plus balance. Jenna, caught off guard, said she thought Todd had paid. It unraveled fast. Todd and Jenna bickered quietly, then Todd sought out Alan, who clarified he'd only contributed a couple thousand, assuming the engaged couple could handle the rest. The argument grew heated. Guests stared. Maria, seeing a disaster and an unpaid bill, halted the bar and kitchen. The public embarrassment was brutal. Todd and Jenna's final blowout happened near the coat check. He reportedly called her a deceitful gold digger, threw the ring box, not the ring, at her, and stormed out, leaving her in her dress with everyone watching. The party collapsed. Guests left awkwardly. Dave was still laughing. He ditched her at their own engagement party. You can't make this up. After we hung up, I sat in my quiet apartment, the TV glowing. Dave texted again. Party was a disaster. Fiancé walked out. I smiled, a real, satisfied smile, and replied, Guess she's still hunting for her husband.